Story 1. I, 33 male, met Julie, 32 female, a little over a year ago at a party, and we hit it right off. Went out on one date and decided right there and then that I wanted to see where this could go, so I talked with her after the date, next day, and said that I already really liked her, wanted to go out again, and on the second date asked her if we could go exclusive. Fast, I know, but I had never had such a connection with anyone before. 6 months in, and one of us was staying the night with each other every single night, so we moved in together. She's bright, funny, sexy as hell, and overall a great person. However, about 10 months in, while looking for some shoes in our shared closet, I came across a photo of her, another guy, and 2 small children. Yes, it was an open box. I probably shouldn't have, but I did. I had no idea what to think, as she had never mentioned. I knew it would eat at me if I didn't know, and figured I might as well come clean about looking at the photo, so when she got home, I just simply gave her the photo and asked what this was. She was a little angry at me for looking at the photo, but she said she at least was glad I was honest about telling her about it. She then begins to tell me that this is a photo of her ex-husband. I had no idea she was ever married, and her son and daughter. At first, I feel horrible because I think she's about to tell me they were killed in a car wreck or something, but instead she tells me she fled her ex because he was abusive. I then ask her about her kids. She then tells me that she left them with him because his family was better able to help him take care of them. She hasn't seen or spoken to her children in 7 years. I was speechless. I thanked her for telling me, apologized again for seeing the photo, and we went about our day like nothing happened. But the entire thing did not sit right with me. I know this might sound sexist, but what mother leaves her children forever in the care of a person who they saw was abusive? So I'd actually gotten to know her sister a little bit, and one day she was visiting before Julie got home. I simply asked her a little bit about it. She seemed stunned, I knew, and then went on to tell me that Julie was married very young and was very immature. I asked her about the abuse, and she said that what little she knew was that it was never physical, and it was only that he didn't want her to go out partying and hanging out with her friends after the second child was born. She said she wasn't comfortable talking about it, and I needed to ask Julie if I wanted more. Well, then I went and did probably the dumbest thing I could do, but this was really eating away at me because this was totally out of character for the person I thought I knew. My friends work as a prevention law specialist and does part-time PI work. By using her name and date of birth, he was able to track down her marriage license. We then tracked down her ex. I had him dig up anything he could on him, and there was nothing there. Clean record. Not even a speeding ticket. You can guess where this is going. I tracked him down via Facebook and contacted him. He wanted to meet up, but he lives several miles away, so we exchanged phone numbers and we spoke via phone. I got a totally different story from him, as you can imagine. She'd been cheating on him during their marriage. In fact, he believes he's not the biological father of their youngest child, although he refuses to have a paternity test because he said he is the father and it doesn't matter. He said that after he caught her in the second affair, he told her that she could no longer hang out with her girlfriends who were helping her and encouraging her to cheat. He said he went to work one day and came home to a note saying that the kids were at his mom's and she was leaving. He said that he was heartbroken and begged her to at least visit the children, but she told him that she felt she made a mistake getting married so young and having children, and she needed to be free. That was over 7 years ago, and he said that after the divorce, neither he nor the children have heard from her again. He said the youngest one has no real memory of her, and the older child only vaguely remembers her. I don't know why I do, but I believe his story word for word. Needless to say, this has weighed on me since he and I talked. She doesn't know I've done this. I am aware that this is a massive breach of trust, and if I were her, I would dump me. But right now, I'm really deciding how this makes me feel about her. For the record, she's been nothing but great to me. But a person who abandons their children? How much can you really trust them? In 5 to 10 years, what if something happens to me? Would she be there to take care of me or help me, or would she abandon me as well? How big of an ass am I for having these thoughts? I already know I'm an ass for snooping, but to be blunt, I'm not really sorry for doing it because I really like to have information when I'm thinking about making life-altering decisions. Update. Well, my original plan was to just wait this all out till after the holiday season, including New Year's. But to be honest, it felt like it was wrong to do that if something was going to happen and we would separate. So last night when she got off work, I told her we needed to talk, and we sat in the kitchen at the table. I just told her that since I accidentally found out about her past life, that I was just having trouble reconciling what I thought I knew about her versus what seems to be a very different life. Anyway, to make this short and sweet, because God knows the conversation we had was neither of those, I'll just throw out the highlights. First thing, right off the bat, I just confessed to talking with her ex. Yes, that went over as well as you can imagine. I freely admitted that I overstepped in some ways. However, I would only apologize so much for it because, as I reminded her, she was never forthcoming about any of this. Of course, I get the entire "it was none of my business" yelling, which I deserve to a point, until I told her that since we'd spoken about possibly getting married in the future, that I felt like I did have a right to know if she was obligated financially to her 2 previous children. Also, how would this affect her ever wanting to have children again, etc. Spoiler alert, she is thousands upon thousands of dollars behind in child support. Anyway, once I get her to stop yelling at me, then I make mistake number 2. I told her what he told me. She asked, by the way. Well, this started the second round of yelling about how abusive he was and controlling. I let her go on, but when she finally settled down, I just asked her if it was true. She finally admitted it was. She did cheat on him twice in their marriage. So I asked her to define abuse for me, because at this point in time, I want to know what she considers this, because I have a feeling I'll be labeled as abusive here. Sure as shit, he did not want her going out to bars and drinking and didn't want her hanging out with her friends without him there as well. I never told her that he told me it was the same group of friends who enabled her cheating. I just let her go on. So now's where mistake number 3 comes into play. And this was pretty much the nail in the coffin for both of us. I asked her what she thought about kids in the future and how I can be assured that history won't repeat itself. I'll spare you the cussing that I got over that one, and I'll give you what she finally, in the end, admitted to. She was too young, did not get the partying out of her system, and did not like the responsibility of being a mother at the time. However, she feels like she could now. We both agreed that this relationship just took a torpedo that it could not recover from. The trust was broken by both of us, and we decided amicably, I might add, that we would just go our own way. I'm sure someday she'll be a fine partner to someone, but to be honest, I don't think I could have gone long term with her because I'd be looking over my shoulder the entire time waiting for something to happen. She has changed, I can assume, from where she was in her mid-20s, but with the back child support, no guarantee that she wouldn't do this again, and other things that came to my mind, I don't feel as bad about this as I probably should. Update 2. I was kind of vague about this last night because I already thought I was going too long, but something changed this AM, so I'll throw this out there. The reason I know she's tens of thousands of dollars behind on child support is because she told me. She felt like his lawyer was vindictive and asked for more than she thought was fair. She managed to skirt paying because we live in a geographic area that has 3 state borders within 150 miles. She would take jobs working as a waitress and would then job hop, keeping ahead of the state agency that collects child support. Then she would move states, making it more difficult to collect. Eventually, she just got ahead of him and had been living in a state away from her ex, and he doesn't know where she lives or who her employer is. She now has a job that she's been at for 3 years and values that job a lot. Well, this might be a shitty thing to do to her, but her gleeful description of avoiding paying child support did not sit well with me. So I texted her ex-husband to her current employer. I did not give her address, and it might have been the wrong thing to do, but the more I thought about the ex and her kids, the more it bothered me. Is it weird that I actually now feel bad for her ex-husband? You did good, OP. Glad you're no longer with this deceptive and unstable lady. You should definitely not want to have children with someone who abandoned theirs. If she's ready to be a mom now, then she needs to reestablish a relationship with her existing kids, who probably need her, rather than trying to start over with you. Now for some comments. I could give her the young and dumb. I could even possibly give her the thought that after not having been in their lives for so long, maybe it's best if she doesn't get involved now. But she's not really grown up or even owned up to her own mistakes because she's still putting the blame on her ex. She's not paying her child support. She's not even at least trying to find out if her children are okay, if they need anything. Getting out of this relationship was probably the best call you could make, OP. Look, you made no mistakes here. She's a stone-cold liar. A relationship isn't an inquisition, but you deserve to know if she's got an extra family out there. The trick here is don't fall for the begging that will come 6 months to a year down the road. She knows no decent guy will marry her with all her bullshit. She already had you on the hook, so she'll want to reel you in again. Don't fall for it. Lol, she's truly pathetic. Abandoned her husband, abandoned her kids, forced the dad to raise him as a single father after his cheating wife bounced. And she isn't paying child support. Thousands do. And she doesn't give enough of a rip to do right by these kids. What a terrible woman. No remorse and no way to trust her because she's doing nothing to rectify her mistakes or even make a shred of effort. You're better off without her and her fantasy world where consequences for being a crappy person doesn't exist.